Good morning. My name is Margie Sammons, and I am one of the many beloved prayer practitioners here at the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. And our community welcomes you this morning on this cold Ohio day. Whether you're here in person, viewing us online, or watching us later on YouTube, we are happy you are here for our morning meditation. So I invite you to take this time to just sit back and get comfortable. Relax in your seat and become conscious of your breath. Breathe in through the heart and out through the heart. And just picture the light of Source entering your heart as you breathe out and expanding with each breath. Your breath is Source, moving to you, through you, and as you. Continue this breathing, getting into your own personal rhythm. Know that as you breathe in through the heart and out through the heart, your whole body aligns with this rhythm, with the rhythm of your heart. Allow your thoughts to drift by. Acknowledge them and know that you can pick them up later. Allow your worries to drift by, honoring them and just sending them on their way. Allow the worries of the world to drift by, then pausing for these moments of sacred peace. And just breathe in and breathe out, thankful for this breath of life, thankful for this connection, thankful for this life. Feel yourself turning within, turning into that heart space that is the consciousness, where you feel your connection to Spirit. Your breath breathes in light, energy, and peace, all that is gone. Your heart expands with that light and energy and peace. As you breathe out, you release love and peace into the world. So relax in this moment. Relax in the arms of Spirit, here in the warmth and the light of pure love. In this space, there is no veil, there is no fear, there is no judgment, there is no thought. Here you just are. I invite you to rest in this sacred space, knowing for yourself, for those in your life, and for the peoples of the world, divine harmony. Know that you are aligned with the thing itself, and that through this alignment there is peace and ease and balance in life. You are allowing the flow of good in your life, the flow of God in your life, the flow of peace and harmony in your life. So use this sacred time right now to feel that allowing, to be that allowing, that peace, that balance, the truth of who you are. I encourage you to remember that this is the true state of your being and of all beings. Harmony, balance, alignment, and peace. Remember to hold this connection with Source always within your heart, and to recall this truth of who we all are throughout the week as your life unfolds. This covenant is yours at any time and always. And so I invite you back to slowly and steadily become conscious of your physical space, to feel the chair or the floor beneath you, to stretch and become aware of your surroundings. And when you are ready, join us in the flow of peace and as the flow of peace. Namaste.
Which song is it?
you. And good morning. My name is Margie Salmons, and I'm one of the many beloved licensed religious science prayer practitioners here at the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. I am going to be sharing announcements today. Woo-woo! So just a huge thank you to everyone joining us in person today, and those folks that are joining us on Facebook Live, or if you watch later on YouTube when we post it. I'm extending a personal invitation to come and join us on Sundays. We have a wonderful time. So thank you for being here in whatever way that you are. Our 2022 pledge campaign is just about done, and we want to thank everybody that made a pledge for 2022. So your conscious contributions and pledges help us celebrate here on Sundays. They go to every person whose life is transformed by being in the science of mind philosophy. So we thank you for that. As of today, we are at $76,040, and our pledge goal is $95,000. So if you feel like you'd like to kick a little more in, we will take that, and thank you for it. If you want to pledge, you still can. All you need to do is get a pledge packet, and you can do that by calling the office. You can pick one up here in the lobby, and you can call our office if you have any questions about that. Now, here's a message for all the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living members. It's almost that time of year, believe it or not, for our annual meeting in 2022. We do that in the month of March. So for our 2022 annual meetings, we have elections, and we elect people to serve on core council, on the nominating core, and on the vision core. So if you're interested and you are a member, please contact Joni Bauman or call the office for more information, or send a question through the website. And just a reminder, to be eligible for a core position, you do need to be a member. And thank you for considering it. If you would like prayer after service today, practitioners will be right outside the doors to pray with you. And if you want prayer anytime throughout the week, you can find our prayer practitioners on our website, columbuscsl.org, or you can submit a prayer request on the website. You can submit a prayer request on our Facebook page. So after service today, we're happy to pray with you. We love to pray. So that's the news for today. Let's all stand and sing our opening song, One Big Family.
Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everyone you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everyone you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everyone you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everyone you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Amy Papadopoulou, and it is my honor to welcome you here to the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living this morning. We are an inclusive organization. No matter where you are on your spiritual journey, on your human journey, or whatever journey you are on, you are welcome here. Hello to all of the online watchers this morning. Please feel free to share our live stream to your own Facebook page. We are glad that you are here with us virtually this morning, and if you're watching at a later time, we are glad to have you as well. We will be uploading the service later on to our YouTube channel, Columbus CSL. So now, will you please read our mission statement along with me? We serve the transformation of individual lives through education, spiritual practice, and deep community, using spirit and science and mind principles as our compass. So some of you might notice that we did not say our new minister prayer this morning, and that is because we have chosen as a community to ask Margie Salmons, ministerial student, to step in and be our spiritual director for the time being. So I just wanted to remind you of that. But we are also keeping our new minister open pulpit post open. So that's why we are not saying our new minister covenant anymore. And speaking of Margie, I'd like to say thank you to Margie for that beautiful meditation this morning. And thank you to Kristen Piers. She's at home today with a little bit of a head cold, and she's holding high watch for us. So now I'd like to reintroduce Margie back to the pulpit. Margie, thank you.
We will now begin our sacred service. A reading from Ernest Holmes from The Science of Mind. I would rather see a student of this science prove its principle than to have them repeat all the words of wisdom that have ever been uttered. So let's let the music take us within.
Right now,
God is, I am. God is love and wisdom and joy and wholeness and peace. I am love and wisdom and wholeness and peace. And that is true for each and every person. Because what I know is that each person is an expression of God, an expression of spirit in its own unique fashion. And so today I claim that in this celebration we celebrate spirit expression, expressing as music, as song, and as word. And that the word lifts our hearts, the music gives us wings, and that we are celebrating the joy of the world. I know that this is the truth of our service today, and this is the truth of everyone living their life. And so I release this prayer into the river of the law that always says, yes, my beloved. And I close this prayer by saying, Amen, Ashe, and so it is.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. Open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when I feel I've lost my way, I go inside and quiet my mind. I can hear Spirit say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love, only love, only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love.
So we have the very special honor and privilege to listen to a talk by our very own Carissa Holmes. Help me welcome Carissa, please.
Thanks, Amy, for introducing me. She's got the most amazing way of introducing folks. And another really cool thing happening today is the very first day I came in here, I found this on Meetup, and I didn't know what it was about. I'm like, cool, spiritual people hanging out and talking about things. I'll go. So I came in here and I was like, ooh, I just got tricked into going to church. And I was mad because that was not my thing. So I was like, I'm not gonna walk out and be rude. There were people that were so nice in the lobby. So I came in and I sat down in the back, and Tony and the guys were playing some jazz, and I was like, okay, maybe this isn't like a regular old churchy church. So I was kind of intrigued. But then Robin was the soloist for the day, and just the way she sang somehow made me feel like everything was all right, and that I arrived somewhere that was for me, even though part of me was super triggered like the first 6 months that I came here. So, thank you, Robin, and it's just cool that you're here today too, now that I'm kind of stepping into this new little thing that we're doing here with talks. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Carissa Holmes, and today's topic is all about proving it. What happens when we seek to prove to ourselves that our beliefs are actually true? Because a belief is just a concept, it's an idea, it's something that we pick up and we hold on to, this is probably true, or I like this idea, I'm hoping that it's true. It's really like a hypothesis that we have in science. And we all have beliefs, some of them are conscious, some of them are under there, we don't even know they're there. And we like to feel justified in our beliefs, and we're convinced at some level that they're true, or at least that they're good, even if there's a lack of hard evidence to support our believing. So, and due to this inability that most humans, or all humans have, to reconcile cognitive dissonance, and if you don't know what that is, it's a really uncomfortable feeling that we get a little defensive or upset when life is not lining up with our beliefs, or something we said is true is somehow being shown to be not true. We get this sensation that's really uncomfortable, and we can slip into disregarding or even denying information that comes in that would challenge our beliefs. Because of our tendency to not be able to get past cognitive dissonance, we can kind of just believe stuff that maybe isn't that great for us to be believing anymore. So for instance, we'll just pick something simple and something that we all know. Let's say that you've come to believe that you can be a musician, right? Pretty much anybody can. You kind of believe that you're going to be a musician, and you really want to play the piano like Tony, or the drums like Jimmy, or jam on bass like Steve, or sing like Robin. So you've got this belief, I can do this. So what would be a good way for you to prove that your belief is true, that you can become a musician? Well, you could buy a book about music and pick a quote out of the book and post the quote on Facebook with a little caption that says this. See how many likes you get. You could do that. You could get together with your friends over coffee and talk about how you totally look like a musician, in your leather jacket, and talk about music. Or you could say affirmations before you go to sleep at night. I'm a drummer, I'm a drummer, I'm a drummer, I'm a drummer, I'm a drummer. And when you wake up, something magical would happen. So you could do those things, but you'd likely have a really long wait before they actually turned you into a musician. What would be a good way for you to actually transform yourself into a musician? Anybody know?
Take a lesson.
Practice. A good way to prove that your belief is true is to put that belief into practice in your life. Practice is what turns ideas into art. Practice transforms these concepts we have in our head into creations. And through practice, we become art. We are art on the hoof. So we can prove our beliefs to be true through practice. And then once you've practiced a lot and you've become a musician of some level, maybe beginner level, how do you demonstrate that in the world? You gig, you share it. So once we practice, things change, we change. Then we can no longer deny that our belief is true because we have hard evidence. We're able to demonstrate that through ourselves in the world. We become not just what we think or what we post on Facebook, but what we practice at the physical level, the emotional level, the mental level, and the energetic level. We are the Centers for Spiritual Living, not the Centers for Spiritual Thinking. And living some kind of way requires us to be engaged. It requires active participation, the application of our beliefs, and practice. And here we practice religious science. And this philosophy asks us to change not only our thinking, yes, we must, but to prove the principles in our beliefs through our action. So, in sciencey science, in regular, the earth sciences, biology, chemistry, we use the scientific method to prove that a hypothesis is true or mostly true or that it deems more investigation. So maybe would you place the slide up for me so we can show this? Ta-da! Don't worry, it's just one, it's not a whole slideshow. I won't put you to sleep with that. So I like this graphic because it shows how it's not just a linear process. You can ask a question and then end up coming back around and re-questioning and retrying things. So I like this picture. We start with some kind of observation. We notice something, or maybe we have a question. And then essentially we move to step 2, which is Google it. Not really, but that's how we think of looking for information now. We say, I have this observation, I'm looking at this question. What's that all about? So we do a little bit of background research. Now, background research isn't everything. Notice there's a whole lot of other bobs on the chart here. But once we've done background research, we can get to a hypothesis, which is a pretty good assumption. It could be like a belief that's untested, but that we've come to through this initial inquiry. So we can make this statement of, yeah, I think this is true. And then we go on through experimenting and doing the clinical or in the field research to prove to ourselves, was this thing true, mostly true, totally false, and we follow the cycle around. So there are points here where we tend to, in our application of our beliefs, get stuck. A lot of times we'll ask the question, we'll Google it, and all of a sudden we think we know. We're like, oh yes, I've done my research, and it's this. And there's no vetting of that hypothesis afterward. Or sometimes we just arrive at hypothesis. We just have a belief, we just assume this is what it is, and we never do any other kind of inquiry around it. Maybe it's something we picked up in childhood, something our parents told us when we were this high, and it just became a truth with us because we were so young at that time that our parents were just like gods to us. So we can pick these things up at any point in the process and fail to get into that really cool green area of experimenting. And my dear old Uncle Ernest Holmes, he's not my uncle, I'm just playing, but he says in Science of Mind, one of the greatest difficulties in the new order of thought is that we are likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. As a matter of fact, we only know as much as we can prove by actual demonstration. That which we cannot prove may or may not be true, but that which we can prove certainly must be and is the truth. If there's any field of research where the practical application is necessary, it is in the metaphysical field. The reason being that the principle of metaphysics seems less tangible to the average person than does the principle of other sciences. And isn't that true? It's kind of, it's something intangible about it. So it's critically important that we do that. So why? Why do we just land on yellow and not feel the need to move? Why do we practice too little vetting? I think it's natural. We want to feel like we know or that we have it right. And if we're questioned, inherently we're gonna feel like we've done something wrong, and we're deeply programmed to stay away from that feeling. We're just coming out of this very philosophical age. We're entering this age of transformation, this age of embodiment. And we're in this habit for many, 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 many years of thinking deeply about things and being up in our heads, and we're very comfortable there. But the ways we're habituated to, they feel safe and comfortable to us long after they have ceased being of service. So this way that feels comfortable of thinking about things and not vetting them or testing them or embodying them, it may be comfortable, but it's time to break out of that. We're in a new era. It's a totally new vibration. We're out of the information age, into the transformation age. And we're finding that living from our heads is not working anymore. It's not enough to know something without living it. So we're turning away from seeking more information, more workshops, more books, and thinking more to embodying what we've discovered. And embodiment is not easy. And I have plenty of stories of my own about my struggles with embodiment. So I'll tell you this one about something that probably everybody loves at some level, and that is bread. So I was a health coach back in the day, and I knew that gluten or wheat or both can be a problem for some people, right? You can have reactions to it. I knew this. I told my clients this. I knew the symptoms. I knew what they were. I knew how to tell people they had the symptoms. But I was totally in denial that I was probably sensitive to wheat because I was totally addicted to bread. So I held this belief that, yeah, I had these problems, but oh, it's not bread. That's not what's causing it. It's something else. I haven't picked the right supplements yet. It's something. So I'm totally in denial. And there's very much an addiction to it because when you eat wheat and it is not digested properly, these substances called glutamorphines form inside your body. And the morphine is on there for a reason. This is an opiate. It's a potent chemical that is really addictive, that if you're not digesting it properly, if you have a problem with wheat, there's an addictive response because you get addicted to the opiate that comes out when you eat the thing. So there's this cycle. So I was literally addicted to it. I would go, and this was back when you could go to Bravo. Has anybody had the focaccia bread at Bravo? God. Yeah, you could go to Bravo and order a sheet of focaccia bread that was half-baked. You remember, I hear people laughing. And it was half-baked. You could finish baking it in your oven, and the house would just smell amazing. So I'd sit there and I'd wait, and I'd put extra olive oil and butter on it just because that was how I rolled back then, even though I knew better. And I'd pull this bread out of the oven, and I would just sit there and mow down on a whole half of a sheet of focaccia bread. But I knew better. But I just had this belief and all this cognitive dissonance that there's no problem. I'm totally fine. I didn't want to give up that bread. And this was back when, unfortunately, there wasn't much gluten-free stuff available. It wasn't really like a thing then. The one bread-like product they had the nerve to sell in the grocery store was like a roof shingle and a cardboard box got together and had a baby. I mean, it was awful. It was like packing material. So I did not want to give up my bread for many, many reasons. But I ended up having to give that up because I was on my way to work one night as a bartender. I bartended and health coach, so I was a total, weirdo at that point, living two lives. And I got a migraine that was so bad that I could not see straight. It was all I could do to get to the parking lot in front of the club and to call in sick, and I just had to sit there and wait until this visual problem and this horrible pain went away enough for me to drive home. And at that point, I kind of had to admit to myself that I obviously had a problem, and I knew what it was deep down, but didn't want to because of the cardboard bread that was available at that time. So, I was in too much pain, and we're so much more likely to be motivated by moving away from pain than toward pleasure. It's a very deep psychological motivator for us to run away from what we don't like rather than moving toward what we do want. And had there been no pain, I would have never signed up for a gluten-free life. I would have never eaten that horrible bread. So that pain is useful. When we feel that discomfort of our beliefs being challenged, that's useful. We must challenge our beliefs. We must prove to ourselves that they're true or not true, especially in the face of cognitive dissonance and denial. So, Dag Hammarskjöld was the UN Secretary General back in the 50s. And he said that in our era, the road to holiness necessarily passes through the world of action. How cool is that? We came here to take action, to be in physicality, to test our beliefs. It's wonderful to philosophize, it is, but we also need to become what we learn, else we're just growing intellectually bloated. We need to exercise our principles, or they just become extra weight in our mind, like a form of clutter. So, speaking of exercise, before the health coach days, I was a personal trainer in this little family health club. And there was this look that people would have on their face. They would come in a couple weeks or a month or so after they started their program. They would have this look on their face. They were mad and they weren't getting results. So we come in, we sit down. I'd say, okay, let's pull your card. Yeah, back in the Neolithic area, we used actual paper cards that I would write people's workout on when they came in. So I took out this ancient form of communication. And I would look, and I didn't see a whole lot of circles. There would be circles when people would do their certain exercises and workouts. And I'm like, okay, did you go to any of the classes? And they're like, well, no. So I'm looking at the card, and I'm like, well, what about the dietary changes? Da, 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 da. Come to find out, they haven't really been doing anything. Like they joined, they came in maybe a couple times, nothing had been done. So it was not a mystery to me why this person was not getting results. Because joining a gym does not actually cause you to become fit.
It doesn't?
Just the joining part doesn't do much, but support your local gym, thank you for that. It's just that belief. Even though it seems so logical to us, the person was not making that connection because there was a lack of practice of what they believed. And there was a similar thing when I was a health coach. This woman came to me, very bright, she was a pediatrician, and she was having trouble with her energy levels. She said, I just been taking all these, so she listed off all these supplements she tried, all these programs. She's like, I just don't have any energy like I used to, and something's going on. So I'm inquiring, I'm asking all the questions, and I said, how much coffee do you drink a day? She goes, well, probably like 3 or 4, and I'm thinking 3 or 4 cups, that's not bad, she shouldn't be. She said 3 or 4 pots a day. She was drinking the full 3 or 4 12-cup pots of coffee every single day, and doing her pediatrician work, which was very tiring anyway. So, and this was a doctor. She knows the effect that caffeine has on the body, that when you drink it, it doesn't give you energy. It forces your adrenals to squirt out the chemicals they're already low on, which is why you were tired, and then you get more tired after that. Like, she knew intellectually what caffeine does, the same as I knew what gluten did, but she was just not prepared to test her belief that coffee was not a problem for her because it never had been. And through this conversation, it was like a dance. I was dancing with this person's belief that was not serving her, and she just could not accept that maybe cutting back off of 4 pots a day might help her energy levels to normalize, and she wouldn't do it. She refused to let go of the coffee, and I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't help you. There's no supplement that I can give you to counterbalance that. It's very interesting. So we can't just sit on our meditation cushion and hope to become spiritually fit any more than we can drink obscene amounts of coffee and hope to have normal energy, or get fit by driving by the gym and throwing a $20 bill out the window toward the building. The mental part of change is critical. Like, we got to change those thoughts, but the mental energy needs to make its way into the physical and practice before it can be made manifest. So if you want something to change, it's wise to examine the beliefs we have around that thing. To put the little chart into play, let's test this hypothesis to see if it's true. So for a fun experiment, why not do that? Why not use whatever picture of it you want? This one's fine. Why not use the scientific method to test a belief that you hold? A lot of times we think of science and spirituality as being separate or even at war because of the very different thinking that goes on either side. Each side tends to think their way of thinking about it or doing it is right, and the other is wrong, because humans of old love to polarize ourselves and fight. That's just what we do. We have this gladiator within us. But we know that there is no separation. We know better. We can take that polarization between science and spirituality and break it down. We can squash the divisiveness because we know there's no separation. The dogma of science sounds different than the dogma of metaphysics or spirituality, but it's all describing the one. Isn't everything just describing the same one? So let's unite the seeming polar opposites and use this method in our spiritual practice. Now, are some mysteries just mysteries? Yeah. And are some questions just unanswerable? Well, sure. We're not going to know everything through this, but what we can do is kind of trim the fat off of the mental clutter that we have and all the beliefs that we have banging around within ourselves that may not be helping us. So choose an area of your life as your laboratory for this week. And maybe you can choose one of the areas that Margie passed out the little wheel to us a couple weeks ago. And we were to look at our wheel and see where there was a wonky area or an area that was lopsided. Maybe pick the really wonky part of the wheel and examine what beliefs you may be holding around there. Is there one you could put into the process and just test it out a little bit with some little fun experiments? Or it could be helpful to you to look at the ways that you know you tend to get tripped up in the process of applying your spiritual practice and actually bringing it into embodiment in life. All the things we know are awesome and that we believe, are we practicing that? And where's the disconnect? Where do you tend to get tripped up, whether it's procrastination, whether it's just forgetting because you don't have a daily practice? That's a good thing to examine in this time. It's the perfect time of year. New Year's resolutions were made and maybe being broken or reviewed. It's the perfect time to really say, what do I believe and what spiritual principle do I have here that I'd love to put more into practice? And as a holistic health provider for a very long time, I will encourage you, please don't write out like a 2 or 3 page long diatribe of what you're gonna do in the next 30 days, totally unrealistic fantasy plan, and try to do it all at once because your subconscious will rebel against such sweeping change. It's okay to have the big plan, the big 3 page long thing, that's great. Hang it on the fridge and then pick one little thing to do first. I'd like to embody this spiritual practice more this week. And what I can do today to do that is this. One little thing, and then do a victory dance when you do it. So this scientific method can work for us in the lab, the micro environment, and it works in the macro of the universe at large, and everywhere in between, as above, so below. And the science of mind can be applied at any level as well. So just go ahead, experiment, prove something to yourself. Practice this week and see what you become. Thanks.
I always enjoy listening to Carissa talk because I always giggle. It always makes me laugh. So let's take this into prayer. Breathing in, bringing that attention into that space where I know that I know that I know that it is all one. And like Carissa said, as above, so below, because it is all one. And from this place of recognizing the oneness of all things, I know that I am one with the one, because I cannot be anything else. It is impossible. For I am, and each and every person hearing my voice, a unique individualization and expression of this one. And so I speak my word right here and right now on behalf of each and every one of us, that we prove the principles of science of mind. That right now there is something that is stirring, there is something that is coming up, that is asking to be deepened, to be played with, to be experimented with, to prove that there is only one. And that one is love and life and light and joy and wisdom and abundance. And I claim for each and every one of us that we prove that right now. That we are courageous, spiritual explorers and experimenters and provers of the science of mind, that ancient wisdom. So I release this prayer into that law that always says yes. Knowing it is already done, I give great thanks. And please join with me in saying, and so it is. giving of our gifts. Thank you for all of the ways that you continue to give and tithe and fulfill your pledge. We are honored to be able to continue to support you spiritually, and we appreciate the gifts, the tithes, and everything that you give as your conscious contributions to CCSL. Your conscious contributions are important because it helps us fulfill our vision statement of helping create a world that works for everyone. And as we engage with the law of circulation, we remember that spirit is our source, and we are simply circulating spirit energy in the form of giving and receiving. If you would like to use Square, Robin has it in the back. And I would invite you to take your gift, your tithe, or your pledge in your hands. And if you've already given electronically, or if you cannot give today, I still invite you to rub your hands together and feel that source energy. And if you'd like, you can put it over your heart or hold it in your hands and say our affirmation with me. My gift goes forth to heal and bless and prosper, and it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
As we witness the circulation, join us in singing Ricky Byers Beckwith's I Trust in God. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm just gonna hug this circulation, because what I know about these gifts is that they are an expression of God and a responsibility that we take upon ourselves to be consciously committed and contribute to the center in our time, in our tithes, in our love, and in our joy. So we bless the givers, we bless the gifts, and we know that we constantly circulate in that law of circulation and abundance. So with a grateful heart, I say thank you and release this prayer knowing that it is done. Amen, Ashe, and we sing to close.
So it is, and so we let it be. And so it is, and so we let it
be. I'd like to thank our practitioners this morning. Thank you, Margie, for the meditation and for being on pulpit this morning. Thank you, Kristen Piers, for holding a high watch from home today. And a big thank you to our featured musician, Robin Cummings. So nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. Big thank you also to our center trio, Tony Bernardi on piano, Steve Baracus on bass, Jimmy Castro on drums. Also, thank you to Tom for being on sound this morning. Thank you for subbing in for us. We appreciate it. Thank you to Julie Colburn. She is consistently always here as our service coordinator. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for Jim Hetzer always being willing to step in and live stream for us. Thank you for doing that. Thank you also to Debbie Conkle for being a slide expert now that you've done this a few times. And a big thank you to our song leaders, Joni Bauman and Dave Scarborough, for being our song leaders. And a big thank you to Carissa Holmes for giving us the time today. Thank you. And thank you all for being here this morning, and thank you all for watching online. If you are new here to us at the center in person, we welcome you. There is an information packet that Julie has in the back if you want more information about who we are or what the science of mind or religious science is. If you are watching online for the first time now, live or later on, recorded, and you want more information, please send us an email, or you can send us a private Facebook message. You can find our email on our website. Also, if you are not receiving the email that we send out every other week, you can either call the office, you can send us an email, or you can send us a private Facebook message. So that is our service for this morning. Please say our blessing with me. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now, and so it is.